Question everything. So here you have it, Martin Luther King's 60th anniversary. And all these people come out to go to Washington just to march and talk about air. Because that's basically what it is, breathing air. Ain't nobody asking for anything that he was talking about in the form of what we really actually need. What is the march for if you're not going to want tangibles? If you're not going to want something that's going to change the nation? Martin Luther King's speech, you can look these speeches up. He spoke on how the I Have a Dream speech wasn't a good speech at all for our people. But that they still pushed that speech, regardless of the man himself speaking on that speech. And anyone can pull up him speaking on it, talking about how it wasn't no good. And then he had a speech also speaking on how the federal government and the government was giving out land all throughout the Midwest and the West to their European peasants, as they said, coming over through Ellis Island and into America, giving them land for free. Land grant colleges and all sorts of stuff to mechanize and learn how to mechanize their own land that they was given for free. At the same time, he said, telling the Aboriginal Niggros to pull themselves up by the bootstraps as they was giving away land to all their people to give them an economic floor. These are speeches you can actually look up. But see, they don't speak on these speeches when they go do these marches. They keep them hidden. But these are the speeches that he talk about when it comes to us getting reparations, reparative justice. What we need in order to build up our nation. The actual land that they took from us back, as well as the actual money that they owe us to re-mechanize our land, to re-establish ourselves as a nation for our people. But see, no one's talking about this. They want you to come out and support their marches, but they don't want to talk about the real truth about what we need. See, if we had our own land and we had our own reparations that they actually owe us in the trillions of dollars, then see, we can build our own hospitals. We can build our own schools with our own curriculum, overseeing our own education when it comes to our children and our way of thinking, as well as our culture and way of life. This is just the reality. Not to mention, we would be able to police our own and build our own police departments for our own people, to be able to police and govern our own reality when it comes to dealing with our people. Not mass incarceration on a biased system where only our people go to prison, but to deal with our people properly, not under oppression, but actually under justice and law, the way it's supposed to be dealt, in an honorable way. These are the things that we can do for ourselves. Building our own hospitals, that way we can pull ourselves out of what we are now in when it comes to being malnutritious and not understanding how foods actually destroy the body if you're not eating correctly, like Dr. Sebi said. And really bring cures to our people instead of suppressions. See, this is what reparation does. It's establish you as a nation to rebuild yourself as a nation in your communities up instead of keeping them where they at. Bringing resources to your community based off of you caring about your people in your own communities, instead of crying to the colonizers who put you in this position in the first place, who will never ever try to pull you out. This is what it's about, and this is what marching on Washington is supposed to be about. What's the use of doing a 1 million man march with Farrakhan if we ain't going to push that movement of getting reparations and getting our land back and being able to mechanize our own land to build up our own nation? What is this all about? See, they want you to follow them and do the same inner circle psychosis that we've been doing for years that get us nowhere, walking in circles. Well, there's no more time for that. There's no more time for the illusion of inclusion, because we're not included. We need to include ourselves by doing for ourselves and bringing up ourselves and our own people. Why? Because it's detrimental to our babies, to our grandbabies. If we don't do something now, then who's going to do it? They already proven to us that way we can vote for years and watch our communities go down the drain. Down the drain. And then they don't talk about what they have done to put our communities into these positions. They don't talk about the 1900 massacres or the many different massacres throughout history that burnt down our communities and then never was able to reestablish because they didn't give us reparations. They didn't give us no type of recourse after they destroyed our communities. We had to re-pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, almost with nothing. Now we have nothing with immigrants coming to our community, getting funded ahead of us. No different from what Martin Luther King said they did for their people when they was giving them all that land. You think they ain't doing it for the illegal immigrants? Because now you see they ain't illegal no more. They're asylum seekers running from an illusion that none of us really know what they're running from. And at the same time, notice how if you drive all around, they are doing all the landscaping jobs, they're doing all the construction jobs, they're doing all these different career jobs that they're getting. You think that's by accident? You think that's by accident that they come right into the country and automatically get career jobs over you? No, this is all being done on purpose. Why? To continue to crush our nation without saying anything, keeping it a hush. But see, this is what we're supposed to be marching about. This is what we're supposed to be talking about. There's no other reality other than reparations. Anything else is just BS. Bottom line. Because see, when you got your own land and you got your own money to mechanize your land, then you don't need no other nation to help you. You help yourself. Just look at the Jewish people. Exactly. Exactly. They got their own land. Well, you know, that's highly debatable. But at the end of the day, you see where it put them at, though. You see what reparations have done for them. And in turn, you don't want it? You don't want your justice? How would that work? How do you don't want your justice? You got these chucking and jiving bootlicks up there talking about a handout? No, justice is not a handout. Justice is justice. That's what it is. And that's what you're supposed to see it as. And that's what you're supposed to want. Ain't you tired of walking around and seeing all these abandoned businesses and abandoned buildings all throughout your communities? Why do you think they like that? You don't think the race riots and the massacres had anything to do with it? You really think that it's your own people that did this, being under their oppressors to this day? Come on, man. We got to stop playing these games and start to think a little bit more. Be a little more clear with our reality of what's really going on with our people and stop blaming ourselves under oppression. We ain't never stopped being oppressed. Because see, to stop being oppressed is to be liberated. And we ain't never been liberated away from our oppressors. Not ever. So therefore, you still are in the same exact boat you've been in. It's just by design. It's just by science today. It's set up through the pen today to be able to keep you down and keep you stuck. Even the schools ain't moving you nowhere. Reading, writing, and arithmetic ain't doing nothing when it comes to knowing how to do carpentry. It ain't doing nothing when it comes to knowing how to do landscaping. It ain't doing nothing when it comes to knowing how to paint. It ain't doing nothing when it comes to knowing how to do barbering. If you don't know how to do anything skillfully, then you ain't competing at all. And you can keep your reading, writing, arithmetic and your diploma if it ain't going to move you to be able to do something with your own hands, to be able to feed your own family, open up your own businesses and do what you need to do in your own community for your nation. That's just the reality to it. And you think they're going to tell you this? Why would they? Why would the colonizers uplift you after destroying you? Why would they empower you after destroying you? This is what you got to get out and make them do. Just like we used to make them do when we boycotted all around the world. This is the reality to it. You got to make a move. And if you don't make a move, you're going to stay stuck and you're going to watch your babies get mass incarcerated in their private prisons today because they're making money off of you. It's big business to keep you down. Big business to make sure that you as a nation do not move. And if you don't see that, it's too late now. It's too late if you don't see it. Because at the end of the day, they got graveyards everywhere waiting to put people like me and you 6 feet deep. And if that's not there, they got the private prisons for you. But they don't got nothing else for you, and you better wake up to it. Reparations is the only way, the only march, the only understanding, the only vote, the only thing you need to be looking at this time in your reality to get your nation off the ground, get your nation off the back, and get your nation from other nations walking all over them. And with that, I just don't get it.